This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I am delighted to be here with you doing guitar. So, in this quick answer episode, I'm going to talk about what caged means. C-A-G-E-D. This is in relation to bar chords on the guitar. It's a term I actually don't use in my books or when I'm normally teaching, but it's a term that gets thrown out and it's something that I get asked about a lot. So I'm doing a video specifically just to answer what that term means. I have a quick answer video out there on bar chords where I do mention it and explain it, but I'm doing this one specifically in response to what does caged mean. So C-A-G-E-D, that's just a word or a way to remember the chords that are in first position, really. So when it comes to bar chords, we can take any chord that we play in first position. If we have the physical strength to do it and the ability to reach, we can turn it into a bar chord. A bar chord is a movable chord. It means we use one shape, for example, the E chord shape, and we can move it along the neck of the guitar to play different tonalities of that chord. So down here in open position it's an E, but then it becomes F, an F sharp or a G flat, a G sharp or an A flat, an A sharp or B flat, B, C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, E, and so on. This, though, that is bar chords, opens up the world to playing on the guitar. I know when I was first learning it became a competition. How many chords do you know? How many chords do you know? And I played in some jazz bands in high school, and sometimes it was between the pianists and even other instrumentalists would ask, how many chords do you know? But as soon as I understood bar chords, I knew every chord, a chord in all 12 keys, and so it made life a little bit easier. But caged just means C stands for the C chord, A stands for the A chord, G stands for the G chord, E stands for the E chord, and D stands for the D chord. I can turn all of those into bar chords. And you might ask about F. Well, F is the only one in first position between A, B, C, D, E, F, and B. I got to explain B and F. I didn't mention those, and the reason I didn't mention those is because those are actually bar chord versions that come straight out of the A and E shapes. So they're actually bar chords when we're playing B. So I'll take a look here at each of these. Bar chords, the secret to bar chords is simply knowing where you're putting your finger along the neck to find the root note, and the other half is what's the shape. So let's look at C first. I will say the most common chords used for bar chords are A and E, and that's where I start in my bar chord video actually, but here I'm going to go through them in order of C, A, G, E, D, unlock that little mystery. It's really actually pretty simple. So with the C, and I'm just going to come up on the neck. If you need to know the names of the notes and that, you can check out my bar chord video. But the names on each of these strings, the 6th string, the 5th string, and the 4th string, we need to know those to know where they are. I'll mention that here at the end, but I'm going to start just with the actual shapes. So I'm putting my pinky at the 8th fret, and my little bar then is at the 5th fret. So if this is at the 5th fret, I'm barring across what would normally be my open strings. Now they're barred. So, and a lot of times, if I wanted this shape and maybe the G chord and so on, I just put a capo at the fret and play it without barring it because they get quite taxing. But my middle finger goes on the 2nd string 1 fret higher, then ring finger reaches over a string and goes another fret higher, and then pinky goes 1 more fret higher. So we're spanning frets 5, 6, 7, and 8 to get a C major chord. So that's the C chord shape, and we don't play the low 6th string. The lowest root is what determines what version we're playing. So the lowest note in these chords is the lowest root. So whatever note this is on tells me what version I'm playing. So in this case that's an F note, so I'm playing an F chord there as an example. So then we move over to the A chord shape. And with A, it includes A minor, A7, C7. I should go back. C7 could actually be used. If you mute the top string, you could play C7. So it's any version of these. C and C7. We don't have a C minor that we play in first position with open strings. The A minor, A7, G, G7, E minor, E7, D minor, D7. So those sevenths and the minors also create aspects. I'm just using the major here as an example. But A major, those open strings. So I'll come up again and put my bar at the 5th fret, just as I'm exemplifying here. So my bar is taking the place of the open strings. So I have the 3 notes that we normally play with A are 2 frets higher, and I just lay down my ring finger and then mute the top string, or squeeze 2, 3, and 4, fingers 2, 3, and 4 in there. Either way, and then I can play that top string. I usually play it with the little ring finger bar, unless I need that top string ringing. So that's the A chord shape. It could also become A minor or A7. So that's all that means, demystifying that. The lowest root is right here. So whatever note I'm playing there determines what version I'm playing. So in that case, it's a D note. So I'm playing D, D minor, or D7. Easy as that. If we move over to G, the G is one of the harder ones to finger because I got to put down 3 fingers, leave a space, and then put my bar down on 3 more strings. So if I come back up here to that 5th position, my bar sits across strings 2, 3, and 4 at the 5th fret. And then middle has to reach all the way up to 7th, ring has to reach the 8th, and pinky has to reach the 8th on the top to get that G chord, bar chord to ring. My lowest note here is sitting on that 6th string, so wherever I place that, that's the version I'm playing. So in this case, it's a C chord, because at the 8th fret on the 6th string is a C note. So that one is a little bit of a beast. G7 could also be played if I can get my, I just played G6, but if you can get your middle finger in there, you could do a G7. So that one's kind of a beast to play. I run into these sometimes when I'm doing fingerstyle or when I'm arranging something for solo style and I need that type of voicing. That's when I use them the most. But G and G7 technically can be bar chord. And then E, the E chord shape, another one that's very common. E, E minor, E7. This is the more commonly used one. If I take that and then go up and put my finger where the open strings were, move everything up a fret, now it's F, F sharp, G. So this is why F is not one of its own, because the F shape just comes straight out of the E and becomes a bar chord. So either I'm playing four strings of that, or I'm playing the full 6 strings, E minor, E7, but it's just the E chord shape. So if I take that up and put my bar at the 5th fret, as I have been with all of them, then my middle finger is just going to go 1 fret higher, and then ring and pinky 2 frets higher, and I look down and see that E chord shape that I normally use in first position. And then it's the lowest note here, and that's an A, so I'm playing an A minor, or A7. Then for the last one, the D, this one doesn't have a bar, but we do have to put one note down where the open string would be used for our D chord shapes. So if I put my index finger there at the 5th fret on the 4th string, and then I throw down that D chord shape, I've got to leave a fret in between, because when I play in first position, I'm up in second, on the 2nd and 3rd frets. So I got to make sure and maintain the integrity of that shape. Create D. D7's a little friendlier, or D minor, because I've got a finger instead of reaching across that bar with these fingers, or that fret with these fingers. So then you have the D chord shapes. Use those occasionally. So that's caged. It just means that we take those chords that are in first position and we can put a bar in front of them and we can move them around. It's the same shape. We just have to know where the lowest root is. With that D, the lowest root is on the 4th string. So in the case of the D, I need to know where the notes are on the 4th string. And It's as simple as that. So I will explain the location of the notes on these strings, something that you kind of need to memorize. The trick to it is understanding the chromatic scale, because the strings work their way up through the chromatic scale on each string. With the chromatic scale, there are 7 natural notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So just those ones. And then in between are 5 chromatic notes. There's 2 places where we don't have a chromatic note between, and that's between E and F and B and C. On the piano, those are the places where there isn't a little black key, the chromatic key, in between the white keys that sit below. So if we can remember that, those are the places where we won't have a fret in between. Otherwise we have a fret in between. So if you know the open note, which in this case for the low 6th string is an E, between E and F there isn't one, so F is at the 1st fret. Between F and G there's F sharp or G flat, 2 names for that note. So I skip over to play the natural note. So F, F sharp or G flat, G, and then going to the next spot, G to A, I skip over again because in between is G sharp or A flat, and then between A and B, so frets 5 and 7, there is at the 6th fret, A sharp or B flat. Between B and C, there is no chromatic, so C is at the 8th fret. I skip over for D, so C sharp or D flat is at the 9th. Between D and E, I'm going 10 to 12. D sharp or E flat is at the 11th. On this 6th string, frets 1, 3, 5, 7, and then 8, 10, 12 are where the natural notes are. F, G, A, B, C, D, E. If I can memorize where the natural notes are, then all I have to remember is flats are 1 fret lower than a natural note and sharps are 1 fret higher. And with that, sometimes we'll see something written as like B sharp or C flat. C flat is the B note. It's 1 fret lower than C natural. B sharp is the C note. It's 1 fret higher. So occasionally we will see those written that even though they're enharmonic, they sound the same as just a regular natural note. On the 5th string, we have an open A. So B is at the 2nd fret. So open A, therefore A sharp or B flat's at the 1st. So B, then between B and C, there is no chromatic, so C's at the 3rd. C to D, so up to the 5th, and then C sharp or D flat's at the 4th. D to E, 5th to 7th, and then D sharp or E flat's at the 6th. Between E and F, there is no chromatic pitch, so we just go ahead and go straight to F. So F is at the 8th fret, F to G at the 10th, F sharp or D flat at the 9th, and then G to A, 10 to 12, G sharp or A flat at the 11th. So on this string, the natural notes are at 2, and then it follows the same pattern as the 6th string. 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. For the D string then, so we got the open D, and then E is at the 2nd fret, so at the 1st fret we have D sharp or E flat. E to F, there isn't one, so we're up to the 3rd fret for F. F to G, we have to skip over to the 5th, so F sharp or G flat is at the 4th, and then G to A from frets 5 to 7, G sharp or A flat is at the 6th, and then we're looking at A to B, so B flat or A sharp is there at the 8th fret, and then B being at the 9th, we have B to C, so C's at the 10th, C to D, we go from 10 to 12, and then D sharp or C sharp or D flat is at the 11th. Now really, the trick to learning the notes on the 4th string correlate to the 6th string. So if I know the notes on the 6th string, the notes on the 4th string are an octave higher, 2 frets higher. So my G is at the 3rd fret of the 6th string. I have a G at the 5th fret of the 4th string. So an A at the 5th fret of the 6th string means an A at the 7th fret of the 4th string. So that's really the easiest way to find those, is just think 2 frets higher than the 6th string if I know the 6th string. The same thing works for the 3rd string and the 5th string, it's just 2 frets higher. So that's the trick to finding that one. Okay, I hope that helps. Hope you're having fun with the guitar. Take care. We'll see you again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com.